when they were roomies.
Oh God, they were roommates.
Hey Roomies, welcome back. We're here with Meaghan, Kaylee, and Courtney, and happy Valentine's Day. We're recording this on Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day. Love it. All the love out there. We are going to talk relationships, our thoughts on love, icks we have, red flags we have, and we're going to wrap up with some worst date stories that we found from Reddit. I think that this is going to be a real fun episode. But first off, how are we feeling this week?
We are tired.
It's Wednesday, my dude. That sums it up, basically.
Fair.
Yeah. Just trucking through another week.
Yeah.
We are halfway through February as well.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Because January lasted a whole year.
And I feel like this just started. I was like, it's February 1st. And then it's like, now it's Valentine's Day. And I'm like, what?
It pisses me off because I'm like, okay, it's, February has like a lot of good like moments in it. It's Black History Month. And I'm like, of course, this will be the month that goes by so fast.
Speaking of Black History Month, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go check out last week's episode and Beyonce.
Yes, Beyonce. I love this is a shout out to Meaghan's mom for watching that episode and also mentioning us when Beyonce dropped her new singles. So we love that. We love the support.
And it's just like, how did you guys know? I was like, we just did. We just
I'm on Beyonce's payroll. I wish. Oh, I wish.
Well,
we'd be going on more vacations.
Yeah. Right? We wouldn't have to work a day in our life if that was the case.
Beyonce, please. Put us on payroll. But yeah, great singles. Definitely check them out if you haven't. There's also tons of really awesome like country music stars that are also Black women and Black people. So check those out. I really like Tanner Ardell. She's dope. She's a Black country music star, and she got this song called Buckle Bunny, and it goes hard.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I loved once we saw Beyonce at the Grammys in the cowboy hat, the internet started wondering. So I'm glad she gave us some confirmation with the new singles this weekend. She had a great Super Bowl ad. She looked fucking hot at the Super Bowl too, with the deep side part, the blonde hair.
Oh my gosh. She just, like, I saved those pictures of her, like, just the behind the scenes pics that she posted, because she looks so good. And I need to get a wig that looks exactly like that. And I don't have any disposable money right now, but I'm going to fucking find some because I need it. I'm like, I need to go to South Dakota with that wig. Like, it has to happen now.
I would like to see it. So
stay tuned.
Oh, yeah. It was quite an eventful Super Bowl. Now we're just riding through another week. Adulting. Coloring our hair,
Yes, today I spent
been a
the
week
day
of highs and lows.
coloring my hair. I split dyed it, so I'm half blonde, half red, which I was red before. But yeah, so one could say maybe I've been influenced by Beyonce as well to go half blonde.
Go blonde for Beyonce.
I have blonde in my hair already, so we honor Beyonce always.
True. All right, well, should we jump into the episode?
Let's do it.
All right, so I would love to share with our listeners what your guys' types are. I guess I can go first, and this is a running joke within our friend group that my type is Slender Man.
Actually, Slender Man.
Full stop. Yes. Period. That's it. No, I love anyone who dresses nicely, points. Anyone who's into spooky stuff, points. I'm 5'2", so it's really easy to be taller than me, but I do tend to gravitate towards the lanky individuals. Tall, lanky, Not a lot of
just
muscle.
overall, like if you can just imagine like a stick figure.
Yeah, like a stick bug.
Yeah. Meaghan's type.
Like an emaciated Victorian person.
Yeah.
If they were written by Tim Burton,
yes.
I am attracted to them.
Jack Skellington.
Yes.
You know, the other guy, I forget his name. There's the other one from like The Corpse Bride.
Victor?
Yep.
Yeah.
If they were written for, like, if they look like they could be in a Tim Burton movie, sign me up. That's pretty much it.
I love that.
Pretty simple.
I just have to say, I have a pet peeve when people talk about like their types, and I always see this on Love Island or like any type of dating reality show where they're like, oh, my type is tall, dark, and handsome. And it's like, okay, but what do you mean by that? Because then they'll choose like these like bland white guys. And I'm like, well, what's tall, dark, and handsome? And I finally realized it means like their hair, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, dark hair?
Yeah. Like what? That's not clear. It's not clear at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve because I'm just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
be more specific.
That's not descriptive enough.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of dark, they mean dark hair or like tan, but still white. It's like
still white.
Yeah.
Like I like them spicy white. It's like, come on,
seasoned. Maybe.
Yeah, seasoned, slightly seasoned. But Kaylee, what is your type besides Big Sean?
Big Sean, oh my god.
We're bringing that back.
Oh, I haven't thought about that man in a minute.
It's been a while.
She's been on Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing. I think type is an interesting question because I definitely go physically for like anybody. I don't really have a range I feel like I go towards. But like enjoys watching sports, enjoys reading books. I don't know. This was something that like kind of stumped me because I've gone for people who are like shorter. I like being with taller people because I'm 5'9", so
well, fuck us.
So, but I won't necessarily say no. I mean, I was with a guy who was like 5'6", I think, and it was cool. He was like, otherwise he was kind and funny. So, I think having like a super dry sense of humor too, because that's definitely how I live a lot of my life. But yeah, probably older than me too. I'm always told I have an old soul. So.
And do.
Yeah. So.
So Pedro Pascal, if you're listening. No.
Mr. Fantastic. If you're listening.
Mr. Fantastic, please.
Yeah, I would love that so much. What about you, Courtney?
I don't know. I would piggyback off of what you were saying. Like, I don't really have so much of a type. If I could like paint him, it'd be like that guy, the main character from Atlantis. Such a good movie, also.
That is exactly who I picture you in. Milo, yeah.
Yep. He's
goodness.
handsome. He does it for me. But it would be like him or I don't know. I would say Drake, but he would give me so much anxiety. Genuinely so different. I feel like in reality, it wouldn't be Drake because I feel like it would just be like so much anxiety having to deal with the audacity of like those types of men.
It might be a fun time, but I feel like it would be toxic. Whereas Milo is a sweet baby angel.
Yeah, Drake is a good time, not a long time.
That's Drake.
Like that's.
But yeah, so I definitely just go off vibes too. Just like I like people that are just really funny and just like to have a good time, but also not super like trying to go out clubbing every weekend. I like to hang out at home and have a good time at home with my animals.
Introvert.
Yeah, and Also, just someone that I could like watch true crime with, and they don't get too upset about it. Who is a dog lover? I don't know. I just definitely go off vibes and just a companion, I guess. Into kind of the similar stuff that I'm into, and we can like just sit and laugh and have a good time because I enjoy laughing. But yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, my type, I suspect. But really, it changes. Also, I prefer to have like someone taller than me, or at least the same height, if not taller. I'm 5'5", so I'm pretty average height, I guess.
That's one of my
Hey,
favorite videos of her when she's in the car and she turns to me. She goes, "It's literally about me," as she's like dancing.
it's really about me, guys.
My favorite videos of her.
My song is actually me. But yeah, so like someone I can have a good time with. I do like older as well. Just young guys they just give off a vibe that I just don't.
It's not worth it. Don't fucking do it. I will never do it again.
You're saying, like, speaking from experience, fuck that.
Fuck that.
Oh, also doesn't have kids.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to be. No.
I am not going to be. Nope. Yeah.
I don't want no baby mama drama. I don't want to be in any type of mess with an ex-wife or.
Essentially, we do not want to be caregivers. Like, we're looking for people who are stable on their own.
And also, like, fairly independent. Like, they're able to pay their own bills and have their own places. 'Cause I was told by, like, one of my old therapists that if a guy doesn't have, like, a dog, a house, something that is dependent upon him, then he's not worth it, because you can't really test a person that doesn't have, like, any type of dependence or any type of, like, things they have to take care of, because that means that they're not good at responsibility.
Wow.
Wild.
Piece of
I know. Piece of wisdom there, yeah. So if they have to, like, take care of something like a house, they have to clean up. A house says a lot about a person, in terms of,
A house
like,
is a lot of
cleanliness.
fucking work.
Yeah, that too. If they have, like, a dog or, like, an animal they take care of that requires,
What about
like,
plants? What if they're a plant person?
plants for sure, because plants require a lot of work.
Plants.
That's
Same. Yeah, my one that's like half dead right now.
I'm like, I have a house and 2 dogs, so that's enough responsibility.
That's a lot of responsibility. Or having, like, keeping up an apartment and stuff too, especially here in LA where it's mostly apartments.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's you're able to pay a lease on time. You're able to pay your bills, and that's a lot of responsibility. So, I'm not saying that, like, people who don't have that are horrible people, but it's also good to know, like, if where a person is settling down, that person is, like, responsible and able to manage on their own, and you're not going to be the one having to put up with, like, most of the adulting, I guess.
I'm all for if you gotta live with your parents and save money, but maybe you're also, like, buying a car, or you do have your dog. Like, there can be ways to show it. So,
yeah. I guess that's kind of a red flag too, if we're getting into that. For me, it's someone who, I guess, doesn't have, like, motivation to do better. Because, like, my whole life has been, like, me being like, no, I gotta strive harder, I gotta do more, I gotta do a lot. And I feel like if people are just happy, like, staying still, or just not, like, they don't have any goals for the future, any type of, like, get up and go, that's definitely, like, a red flag, where it's like, you can be living at your mom's house, or you can, not have a car, taking the bus or whatever, but as long as you're like, no, but I'm going to get to where I need to go. I got the motivation, I got the drive, I'm doing these few things to, like, move forward. Like, that's what's important, is that constant, like, progression, I guess. But if you're just like, oh no, I'm just gonna be here, who knows what'll happen next year, then it's just like, well, bro, come on.
Yeah, the like wrong kind of settling for like, this is good enough. And it's like, does it have to be?
Yeah, like you gotta match my level and we gotta like grow together, you know, until we get to a place where it's like, okay, we've done all we can do. But especially like in LA, because it's like, we're not gonna be buying no houses out here. But you know, but like getting to that place where we get like maybe a townhouse or a condo, you know, but like still just wanting more and like better for yourself is super important. Especially like coming from where I came from, it's like, come on, like we need to have some goals here. But yeah, what are you guys' red flags?
I couldn't date a mama's boy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Couldn't do that. I have been, on too many occasions, I have been called a whore by the mother of the person that I'm dating.
Yikes.
As a high schooler, it happened twice to me. Grown women called me a whore because I was dating their son.
Women's
That's
relationships
the only reason that, like, nothing.
I don't like the whole, like, boy mom sort of a thing. Like, that just feels so weird to me. Like, oh, I'm a boy mom. Of course, like, it's just so gross. Because I'm like, why are you putting that on your son?
It's very odd. I'm like, I'm totally for having a, like, strong relationship with your family. But I could never stay with someone whose mother just openly hated me solely for the fact that I was dating their child. Like,
because it's like, well, you're not as good as me. You're taking away from.
You're taking my boy away, and it's like
you're not in a relationship with him.
I'm not kidnapping him. Like,
and also like you're raising them to move on,
right?
So
that should be what you're doing. Yeah.
So
So that would be a red flag if someone was far too close with their mother, because I've been called a whore twice by significant others.
I can't believe that.
And I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, you're like, never again.
Cannot believe that.
Yeah. You know me, just holding it up over here.
One of mine was always being late and having a lack of respect for other people's time.
Yep.
That's like a huge thing I hold anybody that I spend time with accountable for, is like sticking to your word and respecting, at least like if it's just me and one other person, like respecting my time and showing up on time, or letting me know if, you'll be late, we need to adjust, whatever. But like, don't waste my time, and also respect the fact that like I want to be somewhere by a certain time or whatever. Like,
it's all about communication too. It's like having just the decency to communicate with the other person and just say like, oh, hey, I'm running a little bit late, like, my bad. Because then it's like, okay, sure, you're not going to be like, oh, how dare you. But just the communication bit of it is like, that's just respectful.
Yeah, just, even if it's just like, there's been a few times it's like, oh, we'll have family lunch at this parent's house, and then like, someone in that group shows up late but when they show up, it's not a factor of like, I'm sorry. They're just like, hey, I made it. And it's like, okay, but we've been waiting for you for 30 minutes or whatever, it's like, respect me and my time, because I don't give it out that much. So what I do,
fair.
That's a huge thing for me.
Yeah, you're like, I left the house for this.
Exactly. Or even like keeping your meeting times for work is, like, if you're showing up late, at least have a good excuse.
Yeah, and say you're sorry, apologize.
Yeah, so that's a huge one for me. Or like, I went to the ballet this last weekend, and people who show up like when the lights are going out and they can't find their seats and they've got flashlights on. And it's like, doors open an hour ago. I understand other commitments, things happen, but like, you knew what time this started.
Yeah.
That shit drives me nuts. Or like when movies start, stuff like that.
I think I've got one that we'd all be on the same page with. Conservatives.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Top of my list.
Top of my list. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I was gonna say, like, if I ever go, like, show up late to, like, a movie or something, I will literally just feel around in the dark and try and find my spot without having to turn on.
Desperation.
I hate getting to the movies. Like, I am a trailer girly.
That's also...
Do not be like, no, the movie starts at 4. It says it starts at 4:30, so we'll get there at 5. No,
Nope,
we will get there at 4:15, so I can have my popcorn and my drink, and I can be seated for these previews.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Another pet peeve is people who, like, talk through movies or are on their phone through movies. Yeah, or they, especially in the cinema, because it's like, bro,
My
there
ex
are
did
people
that all
here.
the time. It drove me. Every movie we went to, I had to be like, you need to stop talking to me. Like, this is the one time I get to, like, disconnect and just, like, enjoy something, and you just want to talk. Like, and it was always about the movie, which was good, but I was like, we can talk when it's over. Like, we live together.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk about the movie for 6 hours when we get home if we want. I would love nothing more. But right now, I need you to just zip your lip. Zip your lid.
Funny little comment here and there. It's like, oh, what is that guy doing? It's like funny, but like, we're not going to sit and talk about the plot.
I almost lost it because when we went and saw Scream 6, we went opening night and then we went again that weekend. And like 10 minutes into the movie, when you see like the killers for the first time, like, of course, not in costume, he goes, I still can't believe that they're the killers. And I was like, you fucking idiot. I was like, there are people in this theater who have not seen it already. And you just possibly spoiled it for the people around us. You absolute jackass. I was so mad on behalf of the other people around us in the cinema when he's just like, I still can't believe. And I was like, he's like, I whispered it. And I was like, not enough. Like, why are you talking anyway? Like, I was so mad that came out of his mouth. I was like, how dare you possibly ruin the killers in the movie for people who haven't seen it yet? Like, such a good like
reveal.
Yeah.
On opening weekend, that's insane.
Yeah, I was so mad. I was like, I'm done. That's when I should have walked away.
That was the red flag that you completely missed.
Yeah. So I'm like, I can't. Like when I went and saw Lisa Frankenstein on Monday by myself, I was like, yeah, this is how it needs to be. Like,
nice and quiet.
But yeah, conservatives. They just don't. All three of us have very similar political, cultural views. They just don't fit like any of it. There's no way I could like spend time with a human who disagrees on like moral code,
like human rights.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And they're not people that you can like convince or turn around or like bring to your side either.
I always side eye people who are just like, well, we put our political differences aside and we're able to be together. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That's so bullshit. And it's such like privilege to even say that. It's like, oh, because you're not the one that they're actively hating against.
Yeah.
You can say that. I think it's like God, what's that girl's name? Shailene Woodley, yes.
Oh yeah, when she was with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That was like crazy because I'm like,
that man's nuts.
I think he's losing it. Like, I'm like, what? Yeah. Have you always been like this? Like,
I think he probably has brain damage.
For sure.
But I would say too, people who claim they are apolitical.
Yes.
Falls in the same category.
Yeah.
Because they're people who are like privileged enough to not be part of it, to not quote pay attention,
to not have to worry about the political things that are happening because it doesn't apply to them, because they go, who cares what happens with women because I'm not a woman. Like most people who I have seen or heard talk being apolitical are white men, and it's like because none of this concerns you. You still get everything that you want.
Nothing in your life has changed.
So you can be apolitical if you want because it doesn't affect you.
I just think apolitical is just a short term for just being willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
About the world around you. Yeah. And I can't be around someone who's willing to just overlook and just be willfully blind to the plight and the struggles of everyone else around them. Because it's like, come on, you gotta have some type of opinion. Like, you can't just be like, well,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, no, like, you gotta have to have some type of opinion on how you feel. Like, even if you're in the middle, like, you fall in the spectrum where you're like, oh, I see some of the Republican ideas and I see some of these ideas, and it's just like, okay, well, you're a moderate, like, whatever. I still think that's still a cop out, but okay, I can still see maybe you're not all the way liberal, whatever. But, like, to be completely apolitical is just like, bro, you're just choosing to just ignore the entire world around you. And I wish I could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes, too, it's a cop-out instead of saying they're conservative. Because that's such a bad label.
Most of the time,
I wonder why.
What about some icks?
Icks, one I have is holding an umbrella. I think that comes from living in the Pacific Northwest, where
oh my gosh,
we just like it doesn't matter. But the idea of
I hate them
watching a man walk with an umbrella, I just shake my head.
I hate it. Oh my god, that's good.
Such a very Pacific Northwest ick.
Yeah. Like if I'm ever with someone and he's like, hold on, let me grab my umbrella. Be like, never mind.
Like, you have a goddamn hood.
Yeah, right.
Use
like,
it.
Put your hood on and fucking get in there.
Just walk in the rain.
Yeah,
Like, who are you, Elphaba? Like, what are we doing here?
That's so wild. You know, obviously coming from LA, my first time actually buying a rain jacket was when I moved to Oregon for school.
That's
and I was
fine.
like,
A
wow.
rain jacket's valid. The rain jacket's all you need.
I bought that because you guys were like, no, you're not going to walk around with an umbrella.
Because then people instantly know that you don't belong. Like, not that you don't belong there, but that you're not from there. Like,
you're a transplant if you use an umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, the girls say I got to get a rain jacket. I can't have an umbrella. So I got to do it. It's such an ick. What about you, Kaylee?
This one, it's like uncontrollable, but being allergic to cats.
My ache is what you were born with.
Or peanuts. Yeah. Like,
that's hilarious. That's fair.
I have happened to, like, I guess, be in talking stages with two guys who are severely allergic to peanuts, and I eat peanut butter
all the time.
Constantly. It's part of at least one meal in my day. And I also love Reese's peanut butter cups and peanut M&Ms and whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, you're allergic to peanuts. Like, can it be around? And they were like, not really. And I was like, it might not work.
I'll tell you right now, it's not worth cutting those things out because my ex was allergic to seafood. And it's not worth it.
Looking back, he was like full of red flags that we completely
I know.
Damn. I know it's uncontrollable, but that's
no, that's fair. Like,
I mean, nothing like
because those are
my cats thing, like just some Claritin, you know.
You can just take some Claritin.
Yeah, but you know, if that ain't gonna work, like, those are my pleasures. My cats and peanut butter.
You can't handle the cat and you can't handle the peanut butter. So get out of here.
What about you, Courtney?
Yeah, so I would say baldness, which is obviously too you can't really control.
Sometimes they can't. I feel like it's really popular now for guys to just shave their heads. To shave their heads and then have a full ungroomed beard. And I'm like, bro, you can trim it and like at least make it look symmetrical instead of looking like Gandalf.
It's insane.
Yeah, at least my brother-in-law Chris, he started going bald at like 14. Yeah, now he shaves his head. No, we came from such a hard time as teenagers. I feel bad, but he now shaves his head. He keeps a trim beard though. He does like take care of his facial hair.
Fine. Yeah.
But he had to make that move because he was losing his hair very quickly on the top of his head. Sorry, Chris.
I said that that Kevin Hart gif where he goes, "Damn." Sorry. Because I was like, "Yikes!"
Damn. Yeah.
Sorry. So bad immediately. But I was shook.
No, I'm on the same. Yeah, same
Sorry.
with you. It's an ick.
It's
part of the type is nice hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of my
You
type.
gotta have a good head of hair. I don't know. I love guys with like a nice head of hair. It's like we're not gonna get into that, but
we all know what you talk about.
You know, just grab it. Anyway, so I just like it's just not attractive. I don't like baldness. Like a fade is like cool. A fade moment is like fine. But most of the time I like a good head of hair.
That's so funny.
Can't do baldness. I'm sorry. Get some Rogaine and figure it out. Like
I keep thinking of that SpongeBob episode where they're like, what is it, to Squidward? Where it's like bald. Oh no,
yeah, it's like bald.
King Neptune.
Yeah,
He like takes his crown off. And they're just like bald.
I mean, look at Steve Carell. Like, he got those plugs, and he is like baddie now.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Come on. He looks so good. Yeah. Just get the hair plugs. It's fine.
Another one of my icks is calling sports ball.
Sports ball.
And that's for like anybody. Friends, people I'm looking to date. I hate it.
I do
it's
like
not
those,
a deal breaker, but like, watch yourself.
You're just like, please.
I
stop.
do like those shirts where it's like it looks like a team logo and it just says like team.
Yeah, those are actually pretty funny.
I do like those. But yeah, sports ball.
It's just like, considering the amount of sports I consume, you can't be calling it sports ball all the time.
Like, be specific. Come on. Don't be rude.
Yeah. So.
What about you, Megan? Any more icks?
If they can't watch horror movies, like, it's all I watch, basically. So I just don't see how we could watch any movies together because that's like all I watch, all I go see in the theater. Yeah.
What if they're like willing to watch it, but every single time they just end up getting scared and holding on to you?
That's fine.
Is that an ick?
No, that's not an ick. That's fine.
Like, if they're like screaming, like what if they're like, ah?
As long as they're fine if I laugh at them, then that's fine.
There you go.
Like if you're comfortable that like I'm just gonna like giggle, like I'll cuddle you, I'll hold you. That's fine if that's what you want. Like,
yeah,
come on over. But like, yeah, and it doesn't have to be all horror. Like if they're like, I can watch anything but like stuff to do with ghosts. That's fine. Cool. I'll just watch the ghost stuff by myself. We don't have to watch The Conjuring. We'll stick with the slashers and Saw. No big deal. But because that's all I watch. If a guy's like, yeah, no, I can't even handle like Scream 1. I'll be like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I see people just like not liking like the gory stuff is usually like the most kind of like popular thing where it's like, well, I don't like the gore, because even like my nephew, he likes horror films, but he doesn't like a lot of blood, a lot of gut stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, that's totally fine. That's like, it makes sense. Yeah. But you gotta, I mean, come on. Yeah, you can't make it just Scream 1.
Then I just like, I don't know how I would really relate, because it feels weird, but it's such a big part of my life that it's like, I don't really want to have to, I'm not going to compromise something that I love so much because someone else doesn't like it. So,
yeah, I mean, become part of your, like,
I have a whole horror movie podcast.
Yeah, it's like your identity, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I have an ick.
Let's go.
When a guy just can't cook, like he does not cook.
Oh.
Which is saying something, because I don't like to cook either, but I can cook.
But you can.
You just can't. Like, you burn everything, like you just can't cook. I feel like that's an ick, because it's like you're not even trying. You know, because I feel like with cooking, a lot of it is just like watching it and just following directions.
That's true. Yeah.
And so people who like can't cook, I'm like, well, then you're not like following directions.
Yeah. Learn how to
So
read.
your real ick is people who can't follow directions.
Yes. Learn how to read a map. Like, come on. But like, you know, like, 'cause I feel like you're just putting the effort in, and it's like you're not even willing to put the effort into following a direction, like a simple thing, and to make like a grilled cheese or something. Then it's like,
Grilled
what's
cheese
the
is so
point, you
easy.
know? Yeah. And it's like, when I'm not feeling good or we don't want to order out, like, are you going to be able to like throw something on and make a quick pan of spaghetti,
That's
which
true.
is super simple,
Yeah.
you know? Or do I have to, if we're not ordering out, do I have to cook something all the time?
That's
Because
valid.
like, that's not good. You know, I should be able to at least like throw something together, like just the basics. I'm not asking you to be Gordon Ramsay, but like the basics.
You do
Come
love
on.
Gordon Ramsay.
He's a great man. He's a really good man. But yeah, that's definitely
That's
an
fair.
ick.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, an ick too is like if you have to have like an alcoholic beverage with like every meal, or like you sit
That's
down
more
and you
red
have to have
flag
something.
territory, I feel like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's
You
yes,
have a problem.
for sure. Yeah, like and my ick is alcoholism.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if that's correct. It's more of a red flag, babe. This one's gonna be kind of pretentious, but when it's gonna sound so bad, I feel like, but when a guy can't sing, but he actively tries. Like, have you ever been in the car with a guy and he's like trying to sing to the radio and it's just like horrendous, and you're like, what is happening right now? I don't know if that's just like the snobby choir student in me that's like, bro, find the
key.
The key, please.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like okay if they're bad and can accept they're bad.
it's not a deal breaker,
Yeah,
but
but
it's just an ick.
Yeah. But
I
you're
don't like when people are bad,
you're-
but they don't acknowledge that they're bad,
that's
or they think they're good.
they think there's a fine line. I
Our old roommate had that really bad, where she would sing and just completely thought she was killing it, and just was so. I've never met someone in my life more tone deaf.
She
Like,
also
I was
never
like,
knew the
how-
words to what she was singing.
Oh my gosh. When we went to that Macklemore show,
Yeah.
like I think it was just Meaghan,
Yeah, it was the three of us.
roommate,
Yeah.
and Meaghan was in front of our roommate, and the whole time in Megan's ear, she's screaming just like,
Just the
like,
wrong words. And I
it
was
wasn't-
like, what is happening?
she like didn't know the words. She's saying the wrong words. And so we walk out afterwards and Megan was like, oh my God, I just had her voice in my ear like the whole show. I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
there was a song that made me cry because it's just a really pretty song. It like reminded me of like other stuff going on, and so I'm like sobbing, and she's in my ear screaming the wrong lyrics to this really beautiful song, and I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Like, it was so.
She killed the vibe.
Yeah.
And then I was crying for other reasons. No.
It was just all too much. But yeah, I couldn't deal with that because that used to drive me absolutely insane. But if they're just like having fun with it and they're just really terrible, but they know they are, then it's fine. But at the same time, too, if it's a good song, then like I'm gonna need you to be quiet.
Let you have your moment.
Yeah.
I'll let you have your moment on this song, but when it changes,
Ooh, when a
You just shut the
guy
hell
is a bad driver, ick.
oh my gosh.
Oh.
I even one up you when a guy is an aggressive driver. That's it pisses me off because my brother does that all the time.
You can be aggressive and be good though, because I feel like Courtney, you're an aggressive driver, but you're good because you have to be in California. I could never.
It's a necessity.
Yeah,
it's not a
but
like
you're
being
a
an asshole.
safe aggressive driver. But like I get what you're saying of like aggressive drivers just for the sake of being aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad drivers and then like overly aggressive just to do it. Like my brother does that where he'll be like riding somebody and then like switch lanes without using their blinker and like
and you're sitting in the passenger seat
stressful.
like clinged to the door and the little like, handle.
Gosh. I'm like holding the little handle above like the window. I'm like No, like that stresses me out. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
Also slow drivers, I hate too. So I'm like, come on. That is like the LA in me for sure. Because I'm like, I'm not trying to take a leisurely drive nowhere. Because it's like, come on, we get into where we need to go.
We're just let's get to our destination. Yeah, I want to be passenger princess, but I don't.
But I don't want to die.
To die. Yeah. Fast and Furious, but like 50%.
50%. Half
no
that
need
speed.
to turn on the NOS.
Put the heads on windshield wipers.
Another one for me only uses Snapchat for communication.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
Yeah.
That's almost red flag territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. That one kind of was in the middle for me because, like, grow up. You have a phone number.
Grow up.
I'm not using Snapchat to call you or FaceTime you. Like,
or unless I guess
you
just don't have a phone. And I'm like, you don't pay your bill?
Yeah, which then is a second red flag. You know, like back to the responsibility thing. Yeah, I have one. Such a no for me.
Yeah, it's also like I feel like it's also kind of predatory because it's like, why do you want to talk on something that you can erase the messages? Like it's no trace. Because it's like, what do you? It's just kind of sneaky to me a little bit. Because you can erase like regular messages, but like Snapchat, like is just
fair.
I don't know. It's kind of sneaky.
Yeah, something weird, like something off about it.
Yeah.
Text me like a grown person.
Like a grown man. I have a good one. Someone who is authoritative to your animals.
Ooh.
So like they come over and then they're just like more stern and strict with like your pets.
Yeah.
Because it's like, don't fucking talk to them that way. Like even if they're like even if they're like the shittiest person, they're ripping up all your shit, like only I can say that. You know? Like, don't you do that.
Yeah, like I can call my dog an asshole, but you can't call my dog an asshole.
Yeah. Like, come on. I had a guy once, like, he was getting upset with, like, Marvel, kind of, like, being excited and happy, like, that he was over. And then he's like, hey, you calm down. You stop it. And I was like, this is her house.
Like, you don't live here.
Yeah, you can leave, okay?
Yeah, you're her guest.
Yeah.
You should be lucky that she's excited to see you instead of barking at you because she doesn't know who you are.
Exactly. Like, be happy.
Damn.
Yeah, that's valid.
Men are trash, man.
I love this. The icks are fun.
Yeah.
That was fun, yeah. I enjoyed that.
All right, so
one more.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you have one more?
I was just going to say one more I had, which again kind of rides the line of ick or red flag. I couldn't really decide, but looks down on, quote, girly things like rom-coms and pop music as being like, oh, those are only guilty pleasures, or I can only watch it with my sister, or only enjoy it with, like, no, you're allowed to like anything. Or even like, I saw a convo on Twitter the other day about like guys wearing nail polish. It's like,
I love
like what you like.
Wearing nail polish.
Yeah. It's like,
I feel like that's become more and more like normalized, which is amazing.
Colin Gray in Jennifer's Body, that's my type. Played by Noah Gallner. So handsome.
He was in that other movie too. Freaking
Smile.
Well, yeah, and Final Destination.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, the roller coaster
He's a Scream King. He's good. I love Kyle Gallner.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like looking down on things that might be deemed as guilty pleasures, but it's like, no, you can just like stuff or not like stuff. Yeah. Like, I don't. Yeah.
I also think that falls under like men being secure in their sexuality, especially. I feel like there's been such a thing now of like hyper masculinity talks.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, that's girly, that's lame, or blah, and it's like, not really.
Yeah.
Like,
I know guys who just like refuse to want to lay in like pink sheets. It's like, oh, you have pink sheets on your bed. Like, I don't know, we gotta change those. I'm like, What the fuck does it matter?
Yeah,
You don't turn gay by laying in a bed that's pink.
Maybe not you, Courtney, but yeah.
You hop out and automatically just have to change, like...
Could you imagine, like, I could not... I would be like, okay, so you're so worried about the pink sheets that you won't sleep with me? Like, then leave then. Like, then why are you here? Then get out.
Yeah. Then,
like, well, maybe you already are gay if you can't sleep with me.
Wow.
You know something I don't.
Yeah. Because, like, my room is fairly girly, and if you can't, like, hang out in there, then, like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a room.
This is Barbie's dream house. It's not Ken's dream house.
It's not Ken's dream house. Yeah. That was...
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy come over, and I recently redid my room in, like, a vampire theme, and he wasn't real big into scary movies. I knew it wasn't gonna, like, go anywhere, but he came over, and we, like, chatted and whatever, and he was like, oh, yeah, your room is kind of what I expected, and I was like, that seems very backhanded, but I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna... Yeah, I have this really cool art print of this, I don't remember what it's called, but basically it's this, like, nude female woman with, like, bat wings. One of my absolute favorite pieces of art. Yeah. So I got a print of it, and so it's in, and he was just like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I feel like he could, depending how it's said, it could be a compliment, but it doesn't sound like he meant it.
No.
As a compliment, yeah. And it's like, dude, you brought yourself here knowing what you know about me.
Yeah, I was like,
you drove your ass all the way out here.
Like, yeah, what does that say about your decision making? Like, come on.
Not good.
Men are trash.
Facts.
Speaking of men being trash, shall we jump into some first date horror stories?
Sure. Let's do it. Who would like to go first?
I feel like I have to get this off my chest.
Are you going to tell the Godzilla?
Yeah.
Godzilla.
This is a great story. Buckle up,
so,
audience.
Not many people know the story other than, like, you guys and my friend Jasmine. Shout out to Jazz. But no one else really knows. Yeah, except friend. No one else knows the story because I kept it in because I was embarrassed that I even partook in this date. And you guys know me. I'm such a nice person. Like, I'm not going to just leave. But that was, like, the first date where I was like, dude, I need to leave. So I ended up having to make up an excuse to bail. But talking to this guy, I think we met on Bumble. He had, like, a nice looking profile. He wasn't, like, overly super attractive, but he was cute. I was like, okay, I could work with this. He seemed, you know, to be nice when we were chatting over text and whatnot. And I decided, like, we decided to go out on a date. We went to the Santa Monica Pier. So Santa Monica Pier is it's a really fun time. They have, like, games, and it's kind of like an arcade / like mini carnival on the pier. It's a really fun time. So I'm like, that'd be so dope. That's such a good first date idea. So I ended up finally meeting him, and he does not look like his photo. He's a bit less attractive than his pictures, to say the least. But I was like, you know what? I'm already here. Like, I'm not going to be shallow enough to be like, you're done. It's over. So, like, we continue to kind of hang out, and I'm like, we'll give it a shot. And so right off the bat, he's like, here, I got this for you. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So he hands me this, like, dark kind of a hoodie situation. I, like, open it up, and it's like a hoodie, and it has Godzilla on it. And it says Godzilla on it in, like, Japanese, I guess. Well, I'm not sure if it says Godzilla, but I assume it says Godzilla in Japanese. I do not read Japanese. And so I'm like, oh, like, thank you. And he's just like, yeah. Like, he told me a little bit about how he likes to, like, watch, like, you know, read manga. And, like, he's pretty cool, like, into, like, the Godzilla franchise. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm into the Marvel franchise. Like, whatever. But then when he gave me the hoodie, I was like, oh, he's more into this than I like imagined. Then we ended up like kind of talking, and he just completely talks about himself. He was very much monopolizing the like he was very negative, and like just his answers, like it was just very much like self-centered and like really just negative. And so I was like, oof, getting the ick already if the Godzilla hoodie didn't do it before. And yeah, he talked a lot about Godzilla. So we ended up getting to a part of the pier and like kind of just finding a seat and sitting, and it was just so beautiful. It was such a nice day. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I wish, you know, I was a sailor. I wish I had a boat and just could like sail, but you know, I'm seasick. And then he looks at me and he goes, you could never be a sailor. And I was like, what? He's like, you know what goes into being a sailor? Like, oh my gosh. And then he proceeds to like tell me all the reasons why I could never have a boat, would never be on the boat, would never be able to stay on the water. And I'm like, it was just a joke. I can't even swim. But like,
You can now.
I can now. But like, it was just, yeah, come on. I need to get a boat now, honestly.
Yeah. I'm the captain now.
Right? He's like, you could never. And he just like he had so much. I was like, do you have people that you know that are like sailors? And then he said no, he just knows a lot about it, apparently. Like he said, no, I just know a lot about sailing, and you could never be a sailor. And I was like, well, fuck you. I can do anything I want to do. And like, even though I was joking, I was like, no, I can do that. Like, fuck off.
Yep.
So after that, I was like, so should we head back? So we start heading back, and it's, you know, pretty hot out. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna grab, you know, oh no, we had planned on going to this comic book store, just to like look at some comic books, because he knew I was kind of into comic books and Marvel and such. And so I'm like, all right, let's go do that. And so I'm like, don't really want to, kind of want to end the date there, but I'm just like, I also want to go look at comics. So like, while we're here. And so he's like, yeah, it's just up around the corner. So I'm like, okay, cool. It was not up around the corner. It was like a good, like, maybe 1.5 miles away. And so I didn't think I'd be doing all that walking. So I'm like, I don't have my comfy shoes on. And I am just like kind of chill walking because it's fucking hot and I'm like dying of thirst. So he takes it upon himself to walk in front of me, like, I want to say like 3 or 4 paces in front of me, whilst having a conversation with me, whilst he's walking in front of me. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna like, at this point, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking speed up because fuck you. Second of all, like, this is supposed to be a date, and if I didn't get like completely turned off before that, you're you're showing me why I shouldn't ever ask for a second date from you, because ew, like, why are you doing that? So he's walking ahead, still trying to talk to me, and I'm just like, why don't you just walk next to me? Like, I just don't get it. It wasn't a packed street or anything. Like, it was just like, okay. So we make it to the comic book store. It's a really nice comic book store. I made friends with like the cashier because I just was trying to get away from him. And he was off looking at his Godzilla comics. And he was also kind of a bit of a dick to the cashier because he was like quizzing him almost on like some type of like lore about these comics. I don't know. The guy was just like, yeah, right? The guy was just like, okay, like he didn't really like care, but I guess since I was there, he was trying to like look superior. I don't know.
Well, actually.
Yeah, it was so gross. So I found a couple comics. I was like, okay, I think I'll probably get these. And he's like, no, I'll buy them. And I was like, please don't. Because like, I don't want to have to feel indebted or anything to you at all, because no, thank you. But he insisted that he buy these comics. And I was like, fuck, fine, because he wouldn't let up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so on the way out, it was like a small like neighborhood Target, just like up the street. So I was like, I'm gonna pop in there and get something to drink, and then we could head back, because I had like pretended that my mom had texted me and was like, oh, I need you to come home. So, because he knew I was going to my mom's house after. And so I was like, oh, she needs me over there now. Like, I'm just gonna grab a drink and then we'll just head back. He's like, yeah, like, no problem. I know. So we're in Target. I'm getting my, little drink or whatever. And then he goes on to be pretty outwardly racist towards Black people. And I am Black. But he said, like, oh, no, not you, though. Not like you. But yeah, he was kind of, I like mentioned like my brother, and he was just like, oh, well then yeah, I probably wouldn't, like, I would probably like feel this way about him. And I was like,
yikes.
What? Yeah, it was just very weird, because he was saying something about Black people, and I was just like, well, my brother's Black and he's done this and he's done that. And then he's like, oh, well then yeah, I'd probably feel that way, but not nothing against you though. And I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. And so I hightail it back to where we had met, and he's like, oh, I'll walk you to your car. And I'm like, fuck, fine. So he walks me to my car, and he's just like, oh, also, I took an Uber here. Could you drive me?
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, can you drive me a little bit further up the road so that I can take an Uber? Because I can call an Uber, because it's like, well, at first he wanted me to drive him home. But then he's like, oh, well, can you at least like drive me up the road so that I can catch an Uber? Because right here it was too like congested and crowded. And I was like, sure, since you completely followed me to my car and then cornered me with that question. Great. So we hop in the car, and I'm just trying to like find a place that's like clear enough to drop him off. And then he's like complaining about like my music taste the whole time. And like, it was just the most.
So you need like an ejector seat.
Right? Just like press the button and he just like flies in the air. But yeah, I felt like that. And I was like, when I had pulled into like this random parking, like it was like a strip mall, and I was like, please get out of my car. And then he kind of wanted to sit and chat until his Uber came, and I was just like, oh, I think my mom just texted me again. She said like, I need to get over there. So I like made up another excuse. He gives me a hug, goes and tries to kiss me. I straight up curve. And like,
valid,
no thanks. Do the whole like cheek thing. And he's like, yeah, I'll text you. And I'm like, okay. And so I get in the car, and I'm like, oh my God. I think I ended up like calling one of you guys or texting you or something on the way back. And I was like, I feel so gross. This was the worst day ever. So I finally make it to my mom's house, and I'm like, oh my gosh. My mom's like, how's the day? How'd it go? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
No comment.
No comment. But I was like, Junior, it's my nephew. I was like, here, you want this hoodie? And he's just like, okay, sure. Yeah, and then he has the hoodie. I don't know if he still has it in his possession, but he remembers me giving him that hoodie. I think it came up like a while ago. He's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But yeah, that is the story of me and the Godzilla guy.
Courtney being personally victimized by Godzilla.
Yeah. And so now every time I'm like, there's like a Godzilla movie or anything, I'm just like, fuck. Like, that guy like
here we go again.
Yeah. He like scarred me for life from Godzilla. And I actually think those films are like pretty fun. Like, but I can't fucking watch them because
somewhere on this world that guy is sitting there enjoying the same version. And you're like, not on my watch.
Out there, that guy is front row watching that movie somewhere, and I can't. No. And then he proceeded to continue to text me, even though I told him like it's not going to work out. And he was, yeah. Finally, I did get rid of him. But yeah. that was one of my first date horror stories because, as you can imagine, it was a very uncomfortable day.
Yeah. I remember when you told me the story, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this can't get any worse." And you're like, "But wait, there's more." And then
I was like, "Oh no!" It got like that's literally how I felt. I was like, first of all, I meet him. He's not very cute. Then he's a very like negative Nancy person, and he like is ranting the whole time.
You could never be a sailor.
Told me I can never be a sailor, which is disrespectful. Crushing my dreams. Then proceeds to give me a Godzilla hoodie and talk about Godzilla the whole time. Is rude to a comic book clerk, and on top of that is racist. Then demands I take him home and like hops in my car.
It's a no for me.
Yeah.
It was a combination of nope.
Yeah, I found a couple stories on Reddit. I also asked around at work for any bad first date stories. And everyone there has been with their partner a million years. And they're like, I don't know, we met in college and it was love at first sight. I'm like, man, like, you guys are boring. But one of my coworkers brought up an interesting point. He was like, he's like the one person only been with his wife a couple years. And he was like, I don't have any bad stories, but like, I feel like too, it's more women who walk away with bad stories of dates with men than men who walk away with bad stories of dates with women. Like, maybe too, it depends on who you're asking. And I was like, I might be making a good point. Because, like, of course, it could be that both people on the date aren't good, or the guy is bad, or the girl is bad, but like usually you hear more horror stories out of women than men. Maybe that's
definitely true.
But, yeah, I don't know. I thought he had a good point. He didn't have a good story though, so I was like, why? What are we doing?
Useless.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man, because he's done like internet dating in college, whatever. It's like, you gotta have something. But yeah, he did not. So, did you find any good Reddit stories, Meaghan?
Yeah, I found a couple, and it was interesting because I felt like when I was going through them, and it could just be because women are less inclined to go post about them on social media or like on Reddit, but so many of the stories that I found were men complaining about dates that they went on with women.
Me too.
But then I feel like recently on like TikTok, I've seen a lot of like bad first date stories from women. I don't know if you guys saw the one of the girl, like the guy followed her home.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
I was just going to mention that.
Terrifying. But I did find a good one on Reddit.
Or the gal who ate all the oysters the other day.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. She ate 48 oysters.
And then other stuff. Like, I would feel so sick.
And drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, and proceeded to order a full entree. And then the guy was like, finally had enough, I guess, and
just
left.
Dipped. Yeah.
Just watched her eat oysters and dip.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of White Chicks, where he like orders the oysters and then he's like being all creepy and they're just like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, that one was a wild one. I recommend you TikTok. You can just say "girl who ate oysters" on the date, and it'll pop up.
It's so funny.
She loved those oysters. I doubt that they were that good. But she says that they were that good.
I'm not a huge oyster fan. I can't imagine eating 48 of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, she used like a whole bottle of Tabasco, too.
Yeah. After like the third plate, you're like, where is this going? You're like, okay. And then she orders a whole, like, other entree. Like, the guy's like, can I use the bathroom? And then just completely leaves.
Like, bye.
Oh my gosh. Now that's a bad first date. But I admire her tenacity in eating all those oysters.
Like world record. That's stamina. That's the world record for oysters.
Right?
Anyway. What'd you find, Meaghan?
Yeah, so this one, I found it actually under an Am I the Asshole thread, but it definitely is very clear that, like, she is not the asshole. So people were like, you posted this in the wrong thing, but I thought it was very interesting. So last night, I, 26 female, went on a date with a new guy, 28 male, I'm talking to. I've known him for quite a few months, but we didn't start talking until recently. Last week, he asked me if I wanted to go to a hockey game with him and his mom, and it actually sounded really fun. I've never been to a hockey game, and I didn't really mind that his mom was going because he had those plans with her first anyways and invited me to tag along, which I thought was polite. His house is a 2-hour drive from mine, and he lives close to the hockey arena. The plan was for me to stay at his place afterwards so I wouldn't have to make a late 2-hour drive back home. I assumed that when he invited me to a hockey game with him and his mom that we would be sitting together, but I assumed wrong. After I arrived, he said that his friends and his friend's after I arrived, he said that his friend and his friend's girlfriend were coming too. He had a set of 2 seats together and then a set of 3 seats together. The 2 seats were a little bit closer to the court, so he wanted him and his mom to sit in the 2 seats, and I would sit in his friend and the friend's girlfriend in the 3 seats. Keep in mind, I do not know these people. There are 3 periods in hockey, so he wanted his mom to sit with him for the first period of the game, and then I would sit with him the second period of the game, and then his mom would sit with him for the last period of the game.
Oh my god, musical chairs.
Right? He had bought 3 seats together first for him, his mom, and myself, and then someone offered him the 2 seats closer to the court. He bought those as well, and then invited his friend and friend's girlfriend to come so that I would have someone to sit with them.
Oh my god.
After the first period, he changed the plans, and him and his mom came to sit with me in the 3 seats, and his friend and friend's girlfriend went to the 2 seats. I believe his friend said something to him because they were also confused as to why I was sitting with them instead of with him and his mother. Yeah. I am glad this change happened because I felt like it was weird to have me and his mom switch places like that, and the 3 seats together were really good anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. So then she goes on to say that during the first period of the game, her mom was watching her dog, and her dog has health issues. So her mom was texting her that her dog was feeling sick. So she goes on to say, after the first period, I told him that I would probably have to go home to take care of my dog instead of staying. I explained to him what was going on, and he immediately seemed annoyed, saying, it's just a dog, and the dog will be fine, and you better stay the night with me. I immediately felt icky with that response. I could forgive the feeling towards my dog just being a dog because I'm aware that people who aren't dog owners may not understand the love that we have for our pets, that they are family. But the statement saying I better stay with him really didn't sit well with me. After the game, we took an Uber back to his house, and he started arguing with me, wanting to leave to take care of my dog. He raised his voice at me saying, well, if your dog is more important, then just go. Get out. You're wasting time just sitting here. He also said you could at least give me a back rub before you leave.
Ew.
I was utterly stunned at the words coming out of his mouth. I gathered my things and walked out of his bedroom, closing the door behind me. A moment later, he came running out of his room and rushed down the stairs to lock the door behind me, still raising his voice at me and fussing, saying I was full of bullshit. I walked myself to my car, which was across the parking lot in his complex. I got in and was shocked at what went down and just started driving. A few minutes after driving, he called me and started fussing again. He told me that it was a slap in the face for me to leave when the entire night was all about me, and he was doing everything he could to make sure that I had fun. Honestly, I disagree with that statement because of how he handled the seating arrangements, but I wasn't even upset about it. But I wasn't even upset about that anymore. The reason I was driving home was because my dog was in pain and I wanted to be there with my dog. I tried explaining to it again, but he started yelling, cussing me out, so I hung up the phone.
What?
What the fuck?
There's so much wrong.
You could at least give. There's so many things.
So
wrong
many
in that.
things. I read it and I was like, this is the one.
Yeah,
That's
I would have just left.
horrible.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, you could at least give me a back rub. Like, if you don't get out of here, like, sir.
I'll give you a smack upside the head. Is what I'm gonna give you.
Yeah,
You're
like,
saying
I'll give
it's
you a back rub with a brick. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, like saying it's just a dog after you drove 2 hours to like try and make this work and he didn't try to be with you the whole time.
Yeah.
Fuck.
yeah, the whole
The
seat
worst.
thing was just like,
Yeah.
are you stupid or are you dumb? Like,
Right?
Just yeah. Why would you get 2 extra tickets?
And also, like,
Yeah.
why is your mom not like, no,
Yeah.
You are going to sit in these 3 seats with your date and myself, and you're going to let your friends take the 2 seats that are a little bit closer.
His mom's a huge hockey fan, and she said, no, I need to be center court.
She's
So
one of those.
She's after one of the hockey players. She's like,
he's a mama's boy.
Right?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Sounds
Back
like
full
he's
circle.
a mama's boy.
But
And it's like, you didn't need to buy those 2 extra seats, buddy.
No.
yeah, I don't.
Just
Yeah.
like see your
The
friends
whole
another
thing
time.
sounds weird anyway, because you're not even like boyfriend, girlfriend, but you're also like going to an event with his like mom.
So many
I
poor
would've felt-
decisions.
Yeah. I would have felt weird just from the start, because I'm like, well, your mom's coming?
Yeah.
It sounds like there were edits on that I didn't add, but it sounds like they had been in like a similar friend group for a while, so they had known of each other for a while. I like clearly she hadn't met his mom, but that like there was some familiarity between the 2 of them, and then they started talking, and then the hockey game happened.
Oh.
But still,
That's still weird.
I was like, yeah, no, I would pick my dog over this dumbass any day of the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And just be mindful of how people people love their animals. Like, come on. It's really not that big of a fucking deal.
So
You see them
here's my
another
thought
time.
process. My mom's going to sit here, and then the second period, then you can sit with me. And then...
Yeah.
He put more thought into the seating arrangement than like her as a person at all.
Literally.
Yeah. Genuinely.
How to interact
It's like,
with her.
and then you're going to walk down, and then she's going to walk up, and then you're going to walk back up, and then she's going to walk down. It's like you're just tagging in your mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Tag team.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure he's probably the type of guy, like, would not shock me. Hey, so when there's, like, 2 minutes left in the period, why don't you go get me a beer? And then you can come down and switch my mom out. Yeah. And then it'll be like, hey, Mom, before the 3rd period, when there's 2 minutes left, go get me a beer. Bring it on down. So he didn't have to leave his seat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Be back on your way down to the
Seems
seat.
like the type.
It just like that whole kind of like vibe just reminds me of that Vine where he's like so no head.
Yeah.
Was basically how he was acting.
Yeah. Oh, so no back rub?
Yeah.
Breaks phone.
Not even a back rub.
Throws flipped him.
From what? You weren't playing. Like, you
Right?
didn't do anything.
You did
What
nothing.
am I healing you from?
Oh God. That's terrible.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And it was bad.
What'd you find, Kaylee?
I found a couple like pretty short stories that were on the like bad first date Reddit.
Nice.
Because there were so many. So the first one was, my date invited me over to his place and started singing and playing his acoustic guitar.
It's like that scene in Barbie.
It may sound romantic, but he was awful at playing guitar and singing, and he didn't stop for 30 minutes.
See,
Ew.
I'm telling you, if they can't sing.
Yeah, for some strange reason, I decided to stay, should have left, but wanted to give him a chance, and we started fooling around. He was having a hard time finishing, so he stopped like 3 times and said he has issues with finishing because he believes he masturbates too much. Super awkward. Needless to say, I never talked to him again. And someone replied, I honestly wouldn't want to listen to anyone play guitar for 30 minutes, even if they were good.
Right? Exactly, like the first 5 minutes. You're like, wow, great. Clap it up, and then you're
a
finished.
song.
Yeah, you get a singular song.
Yeah,
a singular song.
Just pulling out an acoustic guitar on the first date, that's an ick.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the scene in Barbie.
Guys,
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
guys who are like aspiring singer, songwriters /
Check out my
rappers,
mixtape
yeah, all of that.
on my SoundCloud.
Because then you have to act like it's good and you like it, and it's just really
When it's not.
it's a waste of time.
Same thing. I mean, like, I know we are on a podcast talking about this, but same thing with a man who has a podcast.
Oh yeah,
But that's real different, I feel like.
Yeah.
their podcasts are usually
Because
just
we're
like,
talking about our icks being men who can't sing, guys who are bald, guys who don't believe in rights for people. And when men talk about women, did you guys hear the one, and I should have sent it to you, where the guy's like, women want to be with big guys because like muscular, like guys, because they want to know that we could kill them, but we choose not to.
Ew.
Who the fuck told you that,
Ew.
sir? Literally no woman feel like that's why I like lanky guys, because I want to know that I have a fighting chance
You could beat their ass.
if something happened. And this guy fully convinced, he's like, no,
I'm flabbergasted.
like he's like, I want my girlfriend when I hold her in my arms to know that I could just snap her in half, but I'm choosing not to, and that makes her feel safe.
What the
And I was like,
fuck? What is wrong with people?
American Psycho, Jeffrey Dahmer type nonsense is this?
Yeah.
It's like mostly people, like women want bigger guys just because they know that like if they're ever in trouble, they can call their boyfriend and they can come beat up or handle whatever situation they're in. That's usually the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard a woman say, I want to know my boyfriend could kill me, but chooses not to.
Yeah.
Like, honey, go to therapy if that's
I want to know that any given moment he could snap my neck. Like, no.
Yeah, this guy like fully
Thanks,
fully
babe.
believes that idea, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Just what did I just listen to?
I mean, they also don't.
Huge red flag.
Yeah, they also don't believe like women should be fat or like make money or wear makeup. So
Yeah,
They just don't believe women.
period.
what
They said
is?
you're a woman.
Don't believe
Ugh.
women.
I don't like when women, you know?
It's so interesting because they don't like women, but they also don't want to be gay, and it's like, so then,
Exactly, bro.
what are
So
your
then
options,
be
my guy?
Abstinent,
Women wearing makeup, ugh. But I'm not gay.
but not too much. Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, and then the second one was really funny to me. Good date, having fun, good conversation, enjoying the nice spring weather on the porch of a Mexican restaurant.
Love.
We have just asked for the check, and then a woman shows up and throws her keys at his face. He pretends it didn't happen. It comes out pretty quickly that this was his girlfriend. They get into a right proper fight in the parking lot, and the cops show up. I can't leave because my card is inside with the server, and it's taking 1,000 years.
Oh, no.
You know, the servers were inside being like, oh my gosh, and then this happened.
World star! World star!
Oh,
Man,
they're
they're
too busy watching
gossiping.
Yeah.
and a
Yeah, they
proper
said,
fight. That had to have been, I wonder if
Got
it was
into
in
a right
England.
proper fight. Yeah.
Proper
Right, proper fight. Yeah, that's definitely European.
Yeah.
Going to a Mexican restaurant. Yeah. It's just like
How do you
throwing
pretend
the keys
that
in his
doesn't
face.
happen? Like someone walks up
Yeah.
and throws keys in your
It's
face
like,
and you just go,
I
what
saw
was
it."
that? Like,
Yeah, they're just like, anyway, I love the way that this steak tastes. Like, come on.
you're 6
seasoning.
margaritas in and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
I was like, well, how about the tacos, huh?
Like, how are you just trying to pretend that shit?
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pretend
So-
that this didn't happen. It's insane.
Yeah. So these are just a couple like really funny ones.
I found a really good one on Reddit. So it says, this guy showed up half an hour late in an arm cast. He ordered steak where he
Ted Bundy?
asked me to cut it up.
Sorry.
He he asked for steak where he asked me to cut it up for him. Throughout dinner, all he talked about was himself and complained about his job.
Mm.
Afterwards, he asked me to drive him to his car, which was only a few blocks away.
Mm.
He tried to kiss me at the end of the date, and when I gave him the cheek, he called me selfish. The next day,
Bro, I
he
cut up your
asked for-
steak.
the next day he asked for a second date. I blocked him.
Valid.
But like, you have to cut up his steak is insane.
That's so
It's
funny.
like, wow, you're just so selfish.
Oh,
Men.
Right?
fuck.
I have one more that I feel like we all can relate to.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's concerning.
I just feel like this is definitely one of the icks that like we should have mentioned, but I feel like it's all of our icks. Met this guy for coffee, and when he arrived, found out he had no inside voice.
Ooh.
I love
Oh, My
I lowered
boss.
my voice, but it didn't work. I'm practically whispering, but he's not taking the hint. Finally drag him outside to say that I'm really uncomfortable with him shouting all my business to everyone in the coffee shop. And he tells me he's been told this before.
Oh.
So then take that feedback and apply it, my guy.
It's like, damn, I don't know why people always tell me I'm shouting.
Wow. I had to do that to my boss once. He is Italian born and he he doesn't have an inside voice. And I had to tell him once, like, hey, stop taking your phone calls in this room because you're loud. And I'm trying to do my job.
Bro. Too much.
And he was like, what? Nobody, like, so dead serious. Nobody's ever told me that before. And I was like,
You were shouting.
but yeah, I was like, sir, like, I can't hear myself think. You're so loud. Yeah.
Good for you for giving him that feedback.
I mean, I got a colleague on the phone. I'm trying to just work. He's yelling in Italian. It's like, and he's that way. Like,
That's funny.
We've got him and then another boss who's Italian, but he's like opposite, super soft spoken. But they eat lunch together when we eat lunch, and it's just like 100 decibels in our break room.
Oh God.
Every time they leave, it's just so peaceful because like the quiet guy raises his voice to match the other guy. It's like, oh my God, stop. Like, I want peace. Please give me a
And
break.
then everyone is shouting.
Yeah. So,
Everyone's shouting.
Wow.
Oh
well,
my gosh.
should we lighten the mood a bit with some of our like fave movie moments that have kind of given us like first date hopes or love hopes and dreams?
Yes. I'd love to know our movie or standards based on movie love.
Yeah. Why don't you start, Meaghan?
My favorite one, if you have listened to my podcast, you've heard me talk about it before, but the scene in Beetlejuice, now just listen, the scene in Beetlejuice when after Barbara and Adam realize they're dead and Barbara's upset because everything has dust on it and she can't clean the house properly, and she's like, where are all the other dead people? And Adam looks up from his model, looks at her, and just says, maybe this is heaven. I think that is just the sweetest thing. And it's like the fact that he would just be so content spending the rest of his life, no one else, not talking to anyone else, just being with Barbara and talking to Barbara, and he is just so smitten about it. I love it.
So
sweet.
My favorite. What about you, Kaylee?
I had two moments. First was the ending to A Cinderella Story.
Aww.
And
Nice.
I mean, it's the whole like dramatic Disney moment, right? You've got the high school quarterback running off the field to go for this girl he realizes is like the girl of his dreams. And his dad's like, you're throwing away your dreams, son. And like, this kid was slated to play football at USC.
Yeah.
Which is like, now being in that realm is fucking wild.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's like, you're throwing away your dreams, son. He's like, no, Dad, I'm throwing away yours.
It's so good.
And then he goes up in the stands. He finds Sam. He stops her from leaving, and then they like kiss, and it finally starts raining because it had been in a drought. And she was like, oh fuck, I had it in my head earlier.
She's like, waiting for you is like waiting for rain.
Waiting for rain in this drought.
Yep.
Useless and disappointing.
Boom.
And then he spent the whole game thinking about it. Goes in the stands, they kiss, it starts raining, and then they go off to Princeton together. And it's so sweet.
Wow.
That's a
And
good one.
like Chad Michael Murray was like the man
He
at
was.
that time.
He was every person's like just in their top 5 like during that time. It was absolutely insane.
So that's just like ultimate like fairy tale ending. And then the other one is the ending of The Princess Diaries when Michael and Mia go to slow dance outside away from her party. And he's like, why me? Why are you choosing me? And she says, because you saw me even when I was invisible. And like,
That's a good one.
yeah, it's so sweet. I've seen that movie so many times because of my friend Kay, that's like her movie. And
I totally thought you were gonna pick something from 27 Dresses.
Yeah, same.
I I thought about it because I've seen that movie probably the most in my life. And
James Marsden.
I'm a little too similar to Jane that it like throws me off. But I do love the idea of like, I love her speech at the end to James Marsden of like, you're cynical and cranky and I think I'm falling for you. And he's just like, they're very cute. But yeah, those were, that was like
similar still, like, to Jane. Time.
Yeah.
I feel like you're like a bit more loose than how Jane is. I feel like she's definitely like super, super uptight.
I'm getting better, but like there's the whole scene where it's like learning how to say no. And I really struggle with that still. And it's like the boundaries of like, how far do I go to help my sister or help my family and put other people before myself? Mm-hmm. And yeah, very similar, but it's a good one. No.
I do like that scene because then they like go through the whole thing and then he's like, "Can I have a sip of your drink?" She goes, "Yeah, that's fine." And then she goes, "No,
sure."
Wait,
and he's
no.
like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, that's terrible. You were like, so
dang
good.
It, you tricked me."
Yeah, it's just like, yeah. So, but yeah, what about you, Courtney?
Yeah, I thought about this one for a while because it's just like, I don't know. I find like movie love to be just so corny that I'm just like, nah, you know. But I will say that I love the relationship between Dion from Clueless and her boyfriend Murray. Mm-hmm. They have such a good relationship and they're so cute and they're so funny. But yeah, I really like and then also I was thinking about it and I felt like the relationship between Mike and Phoebe from Friends is just so cute because I always think of myself as like a Phoebe because she's just so like odd, but also just really funny and just kind of like offbeat and quirky. And I'm like, damn, me and her were, one and the same because we just, and so he has this line where like at their wedding, and of course Mike is played by Paul Rudd, who's so incredibly handsome, where he's like reading his vows to her in their wedding and he's just like, you're so beautiful, like you're so kind, you're so wonderfully weird. And I always thought that was just so cute because she is so wonderfully weird, like, and he just like really loves her for it. And even at like, I hate watching the episode where she meets his parents, but I also love it because he just takes up for her. She's like going on, he's like, just be yourself, like they'll love you. And so she's like, okay, well, I'll tell him. And she's at the dinner table telling him about the time that she grew up homeless and a pimp spit in her mouth and she got hepatitis. And they're just like, hey, and then Mike's like, hey, I love her. And then his mom goes, but Mike, a pimp spit in her mouth. And he's like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I love her. Like, she's amazing. And you just have to get to know her because she's really great. But yeah, I think their relationship is really cute. And yeah, I think like it's really good because he doesn't try and change her and to something she's not. She's herself through and through, and he just really likes it. And he even puts up with her when she changes her name to Princess Banana. Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock. So yeah, I think that's definitely like couple goals. Monica and Chandler are up there too because they both put up with each other. I was gonna say he puts up with her, but I'm like, she does put up with him.
Each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they gel so easily, and so I don't even watch the other earlier episodes of Friends. So like I usually just start watching after everyone finds out that they're together, because I just can't see them not together. Because I just like when they're together. I don't know.
Valid.
That's fair.
Okay, one more. I'm such a rom-com girly, so it's like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone in Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah.
The first time they meet, he tries to bring her home for a one-night stand. She's like, nah, I'm good. I'm dating Josh Groban. And he's like, what? And she's like, I'm cool. Then she dumps Josh Groban because they're like not that serious and she's kind of like wanting more than he is. So she goes to the bar, brings him to his house, and they spend the night like deeply getting to know each other and also joking in between. And it's just like such a beautiful kind of montage of like, you can tell their connection is real. And it's very sweet. I really love that scene. He's talking about his parents, and then he's talking about how much he can't sleep, so he watches and buys stuff off infomercials. So they try out this massage chair and talk about like coin bears, all this stuff. It's like the perfect dynamic of getting to know someone where it's not all serious and it's not all jokes. It's like the combination. Yeah.
I love that.
That's very
That's a really solid movie. I love that movie.
It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. I have two more to mention. One, Leslie and Ben from Parks and Recreation.
Oh, I like you and I love you.
Yeah, I like you and I love you. They're so cute. And also a scene that I really liked, even though it got really dark after, it's just the beginning of the movie Fresh.
Yeah, honestly.
It's so good. It's so good. And I wish it was different in the end, but because they just meshed. But
well, and even like the dancing scene, like midway through, when she's like already his victim, but they just like, there's something there, but it's like, what, you're like sliced my ass off.
You're trying to eat me, but also,
but like we click. Oh
yeah, it's crazy.
Damn.
Such a good movie because they had us in the first half. Not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie. Like I knew what plot was coming, but it was
still like, dang it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, but I just want them to be together.
Put Sebastian in a rom-com immediately.
Immediately.
I need it. Yeah. Oh, those are all so sweet. I like our different like views of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Oh, also Gomez and Morticia Addams. Just everything about them is my favorite.
I love, or it's like Megan's like dark, Kaylee's like romance, and I'm just like comedy.
You need a Gomez in your life. Takes care of you, praises you, like does nothing but like kiss the floor you walk on.
Yeah, just obsessed constantly. And you can walk around being a bad bitch.
Yes. So if there's any Gomez's out there in podcast land, let me know.
That are not bald. I need someone with a nice set of hair.
Gomez has nice hair, so it's
Gomez
gotta
does
be.
have nice hair. And he dresses nice. He's like, that's it.
Yeah. Without the little like mustache too, because the mustaches.
I would be fine with it.
Really? I don't like that like little pencil mustache thing.
I guess we'll have to see who it ends up on for her.
I know. We'll have to see what it works.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap up?
Yeah.
On this love day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I hope everybody spent it with their gals or their pals or their partners or themselves, because you deserve love too.
Yes.
We'll have one last episode next week, I think, before we take our little break. So keep an eye out. We'll get something together to maybe do another kind of thing to celebrate getting towards the end of Black History Month. But in the meantime, check us out on socials. We've got the podcast at AWW Roommates on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
And then we've also got the podcast on YouTube. I can't remember the name of it.
And We Were Roommates Pod.
Okay. Right now we've just got audio. Hopefully we can do some technology figuring out and have some video up for you someday of us recording.
Women in STEM, you know.
I am on socials, Kaylee_Rankstore. Check me out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm attempting to just figure out how to use TikTok a little more. So find me and my cats wherever you want. What about you, Courtney?
Yeah, you can find me at my blog, which is courageouslycourt.com. I am also at iCourtAnnette on Twitter, iCourtneyAnnette on Instagram, and iCourtneyAnnette, I think, on TikTok as well. So I'm over there. I really need to start uploading more on TikTok, but soon. What about you, Meaghan?
Yeah, you can catch my horror podcast on Spotify and Apple at Meaghan's Murder Movies. My Instagram and Twitter for that podcast are Murder Movies on Instagram and Twitter. So it's M as in Massacre Murder Movies. And my TikTok is Meaghan's Murder Media. And you spell my name Meaghan. Yeah, I know that's a little extra letters for most people. But again, everything will be linked down below in show notes. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, it'll be right on the screen, all of our handles and such. But we hope that you enjoyed the episode. We hope a lovely Valentine's Day and a great weekend. Stay safe, and remember, that's life, you know?